Hello, welcome to the first year BTech course of Guru Nanak Institute of Technology, Kolkata. I am Dr. Indrajit Bose and I shall be your course instructor for this session. This paper is entitled English and has a paper code of HU101. In this paper, I shall be acquainting you with the basic forms, modes, and genres of communication, and we shall, of course, be taking a look at examples of all of these from a globalized world context as we go along. This is module 4 of the paper and is called Professional Writing. In the course of this module, we shall be taking a look at the various forms and types of business writing and the various modalities and purposes for which they are written. We shall also be taking a look at the characteristic features of business writing and how one can become a more effective communicator in addressing writing needs in the business world. This particular lecture is lecture 17 in the series and is based on other business letters apart from the ones we have already considered, that is the sales letters and letters of inquiry. So this is business letters part 2. In the course of this lecture, I shall be looking at what goes into the writing of business letters, and we shall be considering 3 different types of business letters: letters of complaint, adjustment letters, and job application letters. Now, to begin with, why are business letters written at all? Well, first and foremost, we can say they are written in order to expedite business communications. All the interactions that keep taking place between clients, vendors, customers, suppliers, and all the other people with whom one is interconnected in the day-to-day running of a business or business activities, they are inextricably tied up with communications which are carried on either face-to-face or via letters. So in order to expedite the communications between all these sets of people, business letters are indispensable. Also, they are there to channelize inquiries through proper and official channels. In any business setup or in any organization, there exists an organizational hierarchy, and the people at the lower levels of the hierarchy obviously need sometimes to interact with the people at the upper level. So for that interaction to take place in the formal mode, obviously the communications have to be routed through the proper channels. So letters, emails, etc. are some of the most important ways in which this interaction between people at the different levels of the official hierarchy in business gets carried out. Also, letters are written in order to stipulate certain specific requirements. We have already seen that business writing deals with specifics. There are specific amounts, quantities, and fixed kinds of things which are stipulated in business, and that needs to be given specifically in writing. I can communicate my need across to somebody via telephone, but communicating something by word of mouth is never so precise or specific, or I cannot express my need for anything specific by only communicating it verbally. So for that, I would need to express myself in writing. So in order to state these requirements specifically, one needs business letters. Also, letters are important in the sense that they help us to preserve a documentary record of the transaction that is taking place. This transaction is only a part of the chain, or it is a link in the chain or network of business communications which are taking place all the time. And we might need to refer back in time to what has already taken place or some decisions which were communicated by letter some time back. So in order for these references to be available and to maintain a readily available documentary record, we definitely need the letters to be preserved. So they give us a documentary archive on which we can draw on for previous correspondence and records of business transactions. Now, as far as the channels of communication or transmission are concerned, obviously we have the ones by writing or transmission of letters by post, and also electronic channels by email. Now, to look at the specifics of the different types of letters that we have to consider now. Now, first of all, I will be taking a look at letters of complaint. Now, complaint letters obviously are written to express the customer's dissatisfaction or grievance regarding purchased products or hired services. So they are also known as claim letters. Now, why are they called claim letters? Let us look into that before we look at the reasons for which such letters might be written. Now, whenever a customer is expressing a grievance about a service or product which he or she has obtained, now that customer is expressing a wish for some kind of compensation. Now that can be a monetary compensation, or that can be a replacement of the product. So that is the customer's claim to the company, the claim that is placed by the customer to the company. So as this is placed in the complaint letter, that is why the complaint letter is also called a claim letter. Now, there can be various reasons why the complaint letters are written. So they may be written because of any kind of manufacturing defect or product defects or any kind of product malfunction, or due to the overcharging of the customer or billing errors, or due to delays in shipment or lost goods, goods lost in transit, damaged goods, error in the quantity of goods supplied, poor quality of goods supplied, or inferior quality or services not up to the mark. So there can be a multitude of reasons, mostly relating to quality or quantity concerns, due to which these complaint letters might be written. Now, obviously, the specific details of the problems with which the customer is dealing with have to be provided in the letter, together with documentary details like bills or invoices. If the goods are delayed uh, or they have been received late, then obviously there's the invoice or challan copy which has been received, which has got a date. Now, the scanned copy of that can be sent as documentary evidence of the delay in shipment. So like this, documentary evidence necessarily has to be enclosed with this kind of letter, because for everything that we speak in business, we need to adduce some proof by way of evidence. Now, one more thing I would like to add over here, that is regarding the tone of these complaint letters. Now, the customer who is writing this kind of a letter is an aggrieved customer. Let us not forget that. And this customer is very, very annoyed with the company for the kind of harassment, or we can say the inconvenience that he or she is suffering. Now, the customer may be a business person himself, and so his or her customers may also be suffering in turn. So it's a chain reaction. Now, however, when the customer writes a letter of complaint to the organization which is responsible for this product malfunction or dissatisfaction, the customer, however, does not give direct expression to the anger or dissatisfaction in the letter. In order for business relations to be sustained, the customer has to tone down the anger and to express it in moderate terms only. So the tone of this letter should always be polite and formal. and it should not be expressing anger or uh, dissatisfaction in any very rude or uncourteous terms. Let us not forget that courtesy is one of the unfailing prerequisites of business writing, and we always have to keep that in mind, even when we are writing letters of complaint. Right? So, this much about the tone of complaint letters. Always polite and formal. Express the dissatisfaction by citing the evidence of how you have been inconvenienced and give the specifics of the problem so that it can be remedied. Now, the parts of this letter, the subject line to begin with. Let us read a sample or sampling rather of the subject lines so that we can see for ourselves what it covers. Complaint regarding non-receipt of 200 crates of Himachal apples ordered by PCN 3034 on 6/4/2019. Complaint about excess charge of rupees 200 in the final bill dated 20/5/2018. Complaint regarding manufacturing defect in the BPL vacuum cleaner purchased on 12/6/2019. Complaint about the malfunctioning Bosch washing machine purchased on 12/7/2019. Now, the third and the fourth one are talking about problems with products which have been purchased. In the third case, there is a manufacturing defect, and the fourth one, there is a malfunctioning machine. So both of them are talking about product malfunction or defects. And the first one is about a complaint regarding delay, excessive delay in delivery of goods. And the second one is about excess billing or to the amount of rupees 200. Now notice that in each case, the exact complaint or the specifics of the complaint are clearly and unambiguously spelled out in the subject line. Note that in spite of all this, the subject line remains quite short and one line and specific, but the exact nature of the complaint is given, and also the product or merchandise which is dealt with in each case, like for the first one, the Himachal apples, then the vacuum cleaner and the washing machine in the third and the fourth cases, they are all specified. So in brief, we are getting all the details, and also the date of purchase and the order number of the order that is placed for the apples is given in the first one. And in the second one, the bill number is not given, but it can also be given. So notice that the complaint specifics are summarized. The kinds of goods or merchandise or the nature of services is also mentioned, and the date of purchase is also specified. So we get all the details in brief in a single sentence in the subject line. This is how the letter begins. Now, how does it go on? Obviously, it goes on like this. Sorry. Now, the opening part of this letter, and I'm quoting again from a sample of the opening part. This is to inform you that the BPL vacuum cleaner purchased on 12/6/2019, bill number 23J19, has a manufacturing defect, as a result of which it is unable to perform its cleaning functions. Now, in the introduction or the first paragraph of the letter, the specifics of the purchase, the item name, and the nature of the problem are all indicated. Okay, so it mentions manufacturing defect. It says BPL vacuum cleaner, that is the brand name, and also the date of purchase 12/6/2019. So all these details are given for a ready reference to the company in the very opening paragraph. So unless the specifics are given like this, it is difficult for the company to understand which product or which specific date of purchase or product sold on which date is being talked about, because obviously companies and company showrooms are selling numerous products of the same make in the same date. Now, how does the letter go on after that? Now, we will notice that the letter goes on to give something more about the nature of the problem, or rather, it goes on to elaborate about the nature of the problem. Let me read the sample that is given here for you. When the vacuum cleaner is switched on, it is observed that the LED indicator is glowing red, but the machine is unable to operate. As this probably indicates the manufacturing defect, it is my earnest request that you immediately look into this matter. Now, notice that the writer of the letter does not stop with just referring to the manufacturing defect, but that the writer goes on to describe at slightly greater length what is the nature of the problem as far as it can be described. So, what is the description? It is given in brief, but it is quite clear, or at least it is quite clearly understandable. That is, when the vacuum cleaner is switched on, the LED light glows red, showing that the machine has started its operations, but actually it doesn't start moving. So it's not operating. So there must be some kind of a problem. Now, why are these details given? Obviously, the purpose of writing this letter is for the company to be able to take necessary corrective or remedial measures. Now, unless you describe to the company what exactly is the nature of the problem, or unless you give a bit of description or elaboration about the problem, it is not enough for the company to be able to understand what sort of measures they might take. So there are, of course, trained personnel who will look at the problems. So before that, if they read the description, they will be able to get some idea regarding what sort of corrective measures they might suggest. So for this reason, it is very important that after the problem is stated initially, it is described at length, or it is elaborated in the body of the letter. After that, obviously, the letter goes on to state its object, that is to make the claim. Now, there can be different kinds of claims. I'm giving or reading out samples of both the different kinds. Now, the first one. Keeping in view the nature of this problem and the inconvenience suffered by me, I would request you to kindly replace the defective vacuum cleaner with a properly functioning one. So, this is a claim for replacement. So, the product is not functioning. So, the customer is requesting that the malfunctioning product be replaced with a properly functioning one. Very simple. So, this is the claim made by the customer. However, there may also be another kind of claim being made, that is the claim for monetary compensation or a refund. So let's read the second example to get that idea. As the purchase of this defective water purifier is seriously inconveniencing our operations in office, I would request you to kindly appropriate your product and give us monetary compensation on the same amounting to the purchase price. We would request you to make this refund to us at the earliest opportunity. So obviously the product in question is a water purifier which has been purchased by an office, and it is inconveniencing their operations to such an extent that the representative over there in the office is writing that the product be taken back by the company and monetary compensation amounting to the price of the product be given to the company. That is, the company will refund the purchase price back to the customer. This is the claim. Okay. So there can be both types of claims, either replacement of the product or refund. Now, speaking in general, I would say that in 9 cases out of 10, it would be a claim for replacement rather than a refund, which would be made to the company, because people do, after all, want the product. And it is only in extreme cases that a very frustrated customer might ask for a monetary refund. Now, the letter ends by talking about the customer's inconvenience, just summarizing that briefly and referring to the company's good reputation in order to settle the claims. Let me read out the extract once again. Considering the inconvenience suffered by me and keeping in mind the consistently good reputation for quality products you have in the market, I trust that you will accept my request for a vacuum cleaner of the same model to replace my defective product. So the customer ends by referring to the company's good name and reputation for good quality products and service, and hopes that the company will keep that name intact by responding to the customer's claim. Looking forward to your early reply. Sincerely yours, JC Mehta. So, lead taking and complimentary close follow up on that. So, this is what is written in the letter of complaint or the claim letter, so to speak. Now, whether the company is going to accept this claim made by the customer or not, that is decided by the company's reply to the customer, which is given in the next letter that we are going to take a look at, that is the letter of adjustment. Now, the adjustment letter. As I said, the adjustment letter is the company's reply written as a response to the customer's letter of complaint. Now, the company may or may not accept the customer's request. Now, what can be the reasons for which these adjustments may be made? So they can be due to shipment delays or billing or calculation errors or defective or malfunctioning products or products that are mismatching the quality that were ordered or some kind of error in quantity or poor quality services and so on. Now, what is the nature of the response that may be given? Now, as I have said already, that the claim made by the customer may be accepted or it may be rejected by the organization or the company. Obviously, it is not good to see these acceptances or rejections as any outright dismissal by any particular person on behalf of the company. Obviously, the response that is coming from the company is actuated by the company norms or the guidelines or rules put in place by the company to deal with these kinds of cases regarding replacements or refunds. So it is not an individual's reply, but it is rather the reply which is actuated by the company's norms. Okay, so we have to take it like that. So it's good not to take it personally. Also, the justification of the claim that is made will be weighed and considered properly and impartially. You may be assured on that grounds. And the validity of the claim will be tested and it will be proved. According to that, the response will be given. If the company thinks that this is a valid claim, then they will respond to it. If not, they will not respond. Also, the nature of the documentary evidence that is provided, again, they may consider that as additional proof of the validity of the claim or otherwise. So these are certain things which are there in the company's response. So the company will settle the claim only after going into the evidence that is provided and weighing and considering the evidence properly. So the company's response is not a one-off partial or misjudged kind of response. It is very much balanced or impartial and arrived at after consulting the company norms relating to these cases and after impartial inquiry. So you can be assured that it is a very much judicial and impartial process that leads to the adjustment being made. Now, let us look at the sample subject lines that begin a letter like this. Response to claim for replacement of BPL Euroclean 1010 model vacuum cleaner regarding delay in shipment of 200 crates of Himachal apples J/PAK92, settlement of claim for cash refund against defective Riara washing machine regarding complaint of excess billing of rupees 200 GN 9219. Okay, so there is a clear reference to the specific complaint. Response to claim for replacement regarding delay in shipment, settlement of claim for cash refund regarding complaint of excess billing. So the clear reference made to the specific complaint gives it a specific grounding in facts. Also, the exact documentary details are given, like 200 crates, okay, or the order number JPAK92, or the bill number GN92/19. So again, the subject lines of these letters are very, very specific, to the point. They give a specific grounding to the whole problem by pinpointing the refund or replacement that is asked about, relating to what or the kind of goods, merchandise, or services, and also the documentary details of bill number, purchase order number, invoice number, and so on. So this is how the letter begins. Now, the opening of this letter. Let's read the sample opening that is provided. We acknowledge the receipt of your letter dated 12/7/2019, informing us regarding the delay in shipment of 200 crates of Himachal apples by purchase order number PCN3034, and asking us to fulfill the order obligations as soon as possible. So you can see that the letter begins by acknowledging the nature of the complaint and the claim that has been made. So it refers to the letter sent by the company which has made the complaint, the letter dated 12th of July, talking about the delay in the shipment of the 200 crates of apples, and also to give the order, or to supply the order as soon as possible. So that was the claim that was made. So the acknowledgement made by the company comes first in the introduction to this letter. What comes after that? Again, we notice, just like in the letter of complaint, there is a little bit of elaboration about the nature of the complaint. Here, there is a little bit of elaboration about the reason why the problem has at all taken place. Let us read the sample that is given. We undertake to apologize for the problem. Now here the letter is talking about the delay in shipment. We undertake to apologize for the problem and can understand the nature of the inconvenience suffered by you. There were, however, substantial reasons due to which this delay has occurred. The workers' strike, which took place in April and continued for 3 weeks, coupled with the torrential rains and flooding, which took place in June in entire Himachal Pradesh, threw our entire operations out of gear. As a result, we were unable to meet any of our orders. So the company is obviously saying sorry for the delay for which the other company has been suffering. Now, then they are saying that there were substantial reasons behind this delay. So the delay just didn't take place like that. So there were reasons behind it. What were the reasons? There was a workers' strike of 3 weeks. Okay, so a pretty long workers' strike which paralyzed all work operations, coupled with torrential rains and flooding in the entire state of Himachal Pradesh. So as a result of that, goods could not be dispatched. So all their operations were thrown out of gear. So naturally, a delay would take place under these circumstances. Now, it is not just a case of extenuating circumstances being offered by the company, but that the company, it is important, should try to explain that the problem which has occurred because of certain reasons. Obviously, it is not desirable that such problems will take place, and also the company will undertake to say that such problems will not take place in the future. But when they take place, there are certain reasons behind them. Quality is not just compromised for no reason at all. That's the point, basically, that the company is trying to make. Now, the body of this letter to go on. Now, let's read the sample that is given. Keeping in view the inconvenience suffered by you and the long-standing good relations between our companies, we have decided to accede to your request. So, very simply, the letter is talking about an acceptance of the customer's request or claim. The order shall be dispatched within a week and should reach you within the next 10 days. In order to expedite the process, the dispatch shall be sent by air freight at no extra cost to you. So the uh, letter is talking about the acceptance of the claim made by the other company, and also giving us further details that the goods should be reaching within the next 10 days, and also giving the additional information that they shall be sent not by road but by air freight. They shall be sent by air cargo so that they can reach all the faster. Now, this is obviously a goodwill gesture on the part of this company because of the delay and the loss that is suffered by the other company. So, it's talking about this goodwill gesture at the end of this letter. So, the settlement of the claim is done in a positive way. But keep in mind that the claim can also be settled in another way, that is by not exceeding the customer's request. Let's read this sample. Keeping in view the nature of your claim and the circumstances under which the damaged consignment of 200 Nagpur oranges was received by you, we feel that it is not possible for us to accede to your request for a full replacement. The fruit was packaged by us in an original and intact condition, and mandatory quality checking was completed likewise before dispatching. The damage caused to the fruit, therefore, was probably suffered on the return journey. Our company norms clearly do not admit of any compensation to goods damaged in transit. Hence, we are unable to offer you any reparation for this loss. So it's very clear that the company will not accept the claim for compensation made by the customer over here. And it gives the reason very clearly that the fruit was damaged in transit. Our company norms clearly do not admit of any compensation to goods damaged in transit. So therefore, they will not give the required compensation that is asked for. So this is the other type of acceptance letter in which the customer's claim is rejected. Now, whatever be the nature of the acceptance or rejection, uh, or whatever be the nature of the settlement, rather, that is made by the company, the letter will end on a positive note, stressing the hope for continued good relations with the customer. Let's read. We earnestly hope that this problem shall not impede the continuance of good relations between our companies. In fact, we hope that our relations shall continue as before and that you will allow us opportunities in future to serve. Sincerely yours, C. Gomes. So, the good relations between the companies will be unimpaired and irrespective of whether the claim is being settled or not. So, it's a very, very fair and impartial letter. This is the letter of adjustment. Now, what remains to be seen is the other letter, which is written by an applicant and is a part of the recruitment process. This is the job application letter. This is obviously written to apply for a post or a position, and it is usually written in response to a job posting. Now, this letter highlights the applicant's skills, qualifications, experience, and suitability for the job, and it makes a formal application for the job. So it's a part of one's application process. The first thing one has to do when applying for a job is obviously to write this job application letter. Now, the format is that of any formal letter. Together with that, one has to enclose the CV or resume. Now, the subject line of this letter. Application for the post of trainee engineer maintenance at Tata Motors. Applying for the post of programming assistant Libsys Systems. Applying for the post of production assistant Tech Labs. Application for the post of technical supervisor production division TIL or Tractors India Limited. So you will notice that again the subject line is short, one line, and very, very specific. It specifies the post which is applied for: trainee engineer maintenance, programming assistant, production assistant, or technical supervisor. It talks about the section, maintenance, or whatever, production division, and it talks about the organization: Tata Motors, Libsys, Tech Labs, Tractors India Limited. So in a single compact sentence, you have the post applied for, the section, as well as the organization all referred to. So the specifics are very clearly spelled out. Then we have in the opening a reference to the job advertisement. So with reference to the advertisement published in the Times of India, 4th July 2019 for the post of training engineer for maintenance in Tractors India Limited, I would like to apply for the same. So there's a reference to the job posting or the advertisement which has come out in the newspaper, the Times of India, on the 4th of July 2019. So this is the reference to the job that comes out the first thing in the introduction to this job application letter. Now, the body of this letter, obviously, the candidate or the applicant goes on to elaborate about his or her qualifications and skills. I am a 21 years old BTech graduate in mechanical engineering from BIT Misra and have done 3 months of industrial training at the SAIL Rourkela steel plant in the production division. So, he's talking about his relevant experience in the past in the production division of the steel plant at Rourkela, and also giving us the other details like he's a BTech graduate in mechanical engineering from where he has passed out and so on. Then talks about other relevant skills and qualifications. I have sufficient exposure to industrial machinery and its operations and knowledge of both hardware and software and systems maintenance. So since he is applying for a job in maintenance, if he is knowledgeable about machines and also about systems maintenance, then I'm sure it's going to come in useful. This is what the candidate wishes to highlight. I'm additionally well versed in AutoCAD and skilled in engineering drawing and preparing blueprints. Again, in production and in machinery, the skill of drawing would come in rather useful. I'm willing to travel to work long shifts and possess good interpersonal skills besides being a good communicator in English, Bengali, Hindi, and Oriya. So various other personalized skill sets like willingness to work hard, ability to work hard under pressure, interpersonal skills or communication with others, language skills, these are all highlighted. So we get a fair enough idea about the candidate or the applicant, and that the applicant has not only relevant experience and exposure in this field for which the job is being advertised, but also has got other interesting and relevant personal qualities and attributes which can be valuable for any employee. So these are all what the applicant wishes to highlight in the job application letter, and accordingly it is written as such in the letter. Now, the closing of this letter obviously makes the claim, given my qualifications, experience, and exposure, I hope to have demonstrated my suitability for the job. Kindly allow me an opportunity of serving you by giving me a chance to attend the interview round. Hope to hear from you soon. So, formally applying for the post and asking for a chance to attend the interview. So, if the application is being considered impartially, the applicant would like to have a fair chance to attend the selections in the interview round. So this is what is being specified at the end of the job application letter. So the job application letter per se begins with a reference to the job which was advertised or spoken about. Then it goes on to elaborate about the candidate's suitability and also to demonstrate relevant skills and exposure which is relevant for the job. And then it goes on to end by making an application formally for the job and also asking for an opportunity to attend the interview. So this is the job application letter. Now, obviously, all these letters have as extremely important features their objectivity and clarity in establishing facts and details. They also follow the specific formatting guidelines, and there are clear standards which have to be followed as far as these formats are concerned. And obviously, if the writing is to be of any high quality, it cannot deviate from the formatting guidelines in any particular or in any respect. Also, they follow company norms as far as the settlement of claims or compensations are concerned. Additionally, the style is also important, so there needs to be a moderate and balanced style, no rhetorical flourishes or no excess in writing. So it all has to be measured and balanced, a good tonal quality, polite as well as informative, as well as formal. So an appropriate balance between the style and the subject matter needs to be achieved. And also keep in mind that these letters are written for a specific target audience. So the object is to gain the attention of this audience in the plethora of all the other letters, emails, and other communications which crowd around. So attention grabbing tactics have to be used in order to write these letters in an effective way. So this brings us to the end of this second part of business letters. So we have looked at letters of complaint, adjustment letters, and job application letters in part 2 of business letters. So this brings this lecture to an end.